I learned today it is a name that does not sound white. We are to move it to the completed tasks. We then note your application as moved due to name standards. Now, it's my first day, so I asked, what does that mean? I'm black, I'm very light skinned, obviously. And she says, And I said, you mean like our names? Like our names? Because I thought it was like a brand standard, like, no, it's literally our names. So I just want you to know, and everybody else to know, this 100% happens.
Until white people realize that black people is a result of your actions on a general scale, then the is not gonna change, bro. What's good, y'all? We got her job tried to ban black applicants, so she did this. We on the road to 100K, okay? If you ain't hit that like button, subscribe button, and turn on all notifications, slap the dog shit about yourself, because that's the first thing you should have did when you clicked on this video. Shouts out to O'Shea Duke Jackson. Let's see what it's hitting for.
Mama, I've been outside. Don't see me going in. Blue lights up in my mirror. Damn, here we go again.
Before this video starts, man, make sure y'all go follow me on Instagram at TYPCam.
By the time the 70s and the 80s came, we started to see a different naming structure of Black American names. People came out with names like Laquan, Lamar, Latrell, Lavon, Devon, Darnell, Jaquan, Raheem, Raekwon, Rashawn. And for the women, you saw a lot of Monique, Tamika, Tanisha, Chantel, Lakeisha, LaShonda, LaKendra, LaToya, Deja, Deshauna, Daisha, Danisha. These names were, in fact, a rejection of normal Christian names that typical Black Americans had in the past.
You ever wonder why some Black names feel like poetry? Like resistance with rhythm. Names like Shaquana, DeAndre, LaToya, they weren't just made up. They were made deliberate. They were acts of resistance. See, after centuries of being stripped of our original African names, stripped of our Kofis, our Nias, our Adiolas, we were forced to wear the names of our enslavers.
Right.
Smith, Jackson, Johnson. But something shifted in the 1960s. Black folks weren't just marching anymore. They were renaming, reclaiming. The Black Power movement wasn't just fist in the air. It was naming your daughter Shaniqua when the world wanted you to name her Sarah.
Now, that style of naming came,
Bro.
60s, 70s, got real popular in the 80s. And it was a rejection of what was in the past, a freedom of expression. Unfortunately, Black Americans paid a heavy price for these names because these names started to be associated with poverty, crime, and a lack of intelligence.
This is my thing, though, bro. White people created the stereotype of Black people today, bro. You enslaved the people, fucked them over, didn't give them no land, didn't give them no resources, no nothing, and now you want to complain about, oh, their name is associated with poverty. Man, what do you expect, nigga? Duh, you put Black people in that situation. Man,
Be associated
don't get it.
with poverty, crime, and a lack of intelligence. If you saw a person by the name of Jaquan or Jalil or Laquan, you would automatically think, especially if you were Caucasian, that number one, this person is from the inner city, and number two, they're from a poor section of the inner city, which is ravaged in crime and a low IQ. And of course that's not true, but we start to see a prejudice towards people with these names, especially when an individual graduated college with the same accolades as a white student and they were applying to a job. What we found out was something very interesting.
University of Berkeley conducted a name discrimination study, and what they found is that Lakeisha and Jamel are less likely to be hired than Emily and Greg. They sent out 83,000 job applications to 108 Fortune 500 employers. Of these 83,000 job applications, half of them had white-sounding names, and the other half had black-sounding names. Applicants with black-sounding names
that's
were
still
called back
prevalent
10%
today.
fewer
When did this
times.
study come out? Because that's definitely still prevalent
across the
today.
board, and even less when it came to specific companies.
Every day.
Despite
The
having
damage is
comparable
real, man.
applications to their counterparts. The author's purpose for doing this study was to understand discrimination in the employment application process. What's more interesting is that these Fortune 5 companies use algorithms and third-party technology to screen their applications.
Now, as you heard this lady say, UC Berkeley did a study, and they found out that
man.
people with names like Jamar or Javon or Deshaun, if they graduated with the same accolades as a white candidate, they were 10% less likely to get the job. Now, again, most people will say, well, that could have been back then. This is not now.
No, that's
This is
definitely
2025. You can get sued for doing something like that. You can't discriminate against somebody because of their name, right?
Come on, man. Everybody, it's still discrimination, bro. Like, that's not something that's, if somebody's reviewing an application, bro, how are you necessarily going to even prove that they're discriminating against you because of your name? Like, it's just
Black people.
something like that is not gonna go away, bro. You know.
I had my first day today at a new job, and basically, without going too far into it, my job is to schedule care for people that need it. A lot of this job is going through applications for people who want to give care. I learned today, if it is a name that does not sound white, we are to move it to the completed tasks. We then note your application as moved due to name standards. Now, it's my first day, so I asked, what does that mean? I'm Black, I'm very light-skinned, obviously. And she says, And I said, you mean like our names? Like our names? Because I thought it was like a brand standard, like, no, it's literally our names. So I just want you to know, and everybody else to know, this 100% happens.
Now, this is a lady saying that maybe these people just didn't know, but I'm light skinned and I also consider myself Black. And these people are telling me that if I come across a name like X, Y, and Z, to immediately tarnish the name or to tarnish the application, because we have a certain standard here in the business. But wait, there's more.
I have 122 screenshots of people, their names, their phone numbers, and their email addresses, and the reason why they weren't hired directly because of their name. Then I have this.
That's a lawsuit. Moving Shanae.
I didn't even make it 1 hour. And I have this.
Moving Shanae to Sunday due to name standard. We can assume
I didn't even make it 1 hour. After I got my heart rate to stop spiking, I went and found the owner like I planned and asked her directly, super calm. She didn't deny any of it. She admitted that it's, fucked up. She apologized.
Admitted that it's fucked up.
I told her that I don't think this is going to be a good fit because this is not something that I would be willing to participate in.
No, you didn't.
I made sure to keep it like professional and not scary, like not threatening. So I have a phone call.
What you do is you sue their ass and quit the job after the lawsuit, though. You know what I'm saying? So make them keep paying you during the whole lawsuit, whatever. And then get you a big enough check to where you can quit the job. Get you like $500,000, $1 million, and put it and invest it at 4 or 5%. That'll get you like $40,000. You know what I'm saying? $50,000 a year, without even touching just an interest, you know what I'm saying? So, therefore you can do what you want, you know what I'm saying? You can retire, or you can keep trying to grow that, working, you know what I'm saying? Or you can work part-time and just take some of that money, that interest money, whatever you want to do. Come up on that check. You know what I'm saying? Because you discovered it, you know what I'm saying?
A good fit, because this is not something that I would be willing to participate in. I made sure to keep it like professional and not scary, like not threatening. So I have a phone call with my guy later this afternoon. I'm gonna go ahead and let him tell me how to proceed. I know that this happens. It's just that I personally have never experienced this type of training. If they have a name that sounds like this or that's jacked up, we don't do it because we have standards. Like, guess we're going on a journey, and yeah, eventually we're gonna say
And our
what it is.
favorite
And again,
racist
this
shit.
video shows more evidence that you have certain employers out there who are trying to stay away from black people. And what I'm talking about is black Americans. And it's not just black Americans. Also, Africans have this problem. I know about some Africans who are in the UK, and if they were to use a real name like Olufeme, they would also get discriminated against. So what Africans started to do was to adopt a Christian name. All right, so they would have their official African name, and then they would adopt a white Christian name, and then they would put this particular name on their job application in order to seek employment. A similar case is deriving in America, but people still may use their name Laquan. But if they have a middle name like Michael, what you start to see is people using their name like Michael. And this was true even in the 50s. You would find some women named like Willie, Billy. It's very, very popular.
You get
these are
there,
names that
you get there to the white interviewer, they're like, oh. They're all surprised and shocked.
men could use with women.
Didn't expect that, huh?
Especially back
Nope.
in what you call the country in the old South, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. And some of those women just didn't want to be called Willie or Billy or something like that. So they would adopt a middle name and then professionally use that as the middle name. But now if you're Laquan Javon Jackson, then you have two names that are very similar like this. So what is the solution? The solution is, well, number one, you can still get jobs, but it may be harder. Or you have to work with your own individual community to create employment, to understand that these names of these people doesn't mean that they don't have talent. And that's the one big take that the black community has to understand.
This is something that's even lawsuit after lawsuit, bro, is still gonna be a thing. I feel like the racism is just so deep here in America. This is what it's built on, bro. And until white people realize that black people is a result of your actions, that's just the reality, bro. On a general scale, is the result of your actions. Then the shit is not gonna change, bro. It's gonna be the same, you know. A Laquan, a Jaquan, is gonna look at a Shaquita. They gonna get a Pookie. They gonna get looked at like that, bro. If you got that type of name, bro, they're gonna take a David, a Chris, you know what I'm saying? A John over a fucking Laquan, bro. That's unfortunate, bro. You know? And that's why I said, like, black people, bro, back in the day, man, before, you know, the 14th Amendment and after they freed slaves and, you know, segregation, black people should have stayed segregated, should have started their own nation, bro. The government wouldn't have allowed that. You would have had to go to war about it. With what material? What weapons? So I understand if you can't beat them, join them. But man, that wasn't the way to go though, bro.
At a certain point, you have to stop depending on somebody else to hire you. And that's the beauty of Black America. It is really a large white space for people. And when I'm talking about white space, I mean opportunity for people to grow their wealth, grow their skill set, and then you can hire your own people the way that you would like. Now, again, not everybody can be an entrepreneur, but the reality is that once you form communities and you form people that you understand.
That's why I say we lost schools, we lost buses, we lost so many businesses, bro. And even after all that, bro, can't beat them, join them. They still came and destroyed Black Wall Street. I mean, that was 1920, before segregation even ended. So, but still, bro, you know.
Understand and you know what they can do, then now you can use that talent that some of these whites are going to reject. And that's the beautiful thing about being in Black America or any Black country, or let's being in Black America, the microcosm we call Black America, or in Black African countries, is that talent is a lot and it's overlooked. And recruiting that talent into the community does great things, and it doesn't matter what that person's name is. That person's name could be Leandre, it could be Jalil, it could be Marquise. Because we know that you can be a name Marquise and that you can be highly intelligent. That your name doesn't mean that you're dumb. You can be Raheem and have Harvard University level of intelligence. But some other people may not want a Raheem working into their business, right? And
Right.
what happens? If that person can't come back to Black America or to the Black community, then we lose.
Let's chat GPT something and be funny. I love chat GPT. I wonder if it'll give me this. But what is the most common name amongst child predators? There isn't. Yeah, there is. If there's a statistic, bro. it, if you take all the arrest records, right, and the names of those people, you can figure the most common name amongst child predators. There isn't any one most common name amongst child predators. Names don't determine or predict criminal behavior. Look at ChatGPT. Is that right? Is that right, ChatGPT? They usually just reflect what's common in the general population at the time people were born. Wait. They usually, Names don't determine. They usually just reflect names reflect what's most common in the general population. For example, if a large number of offenders were born in the 1970s, 80s in the U.S., you see names like Michael, John, David, James, Robert appear frequently. Not because those names cause predatory behavior, but simply because those were the most popular names for men in those generations. Anyways, if we could look that up, bro. You know what I'm saying?
That talent that we can build our community
It's
off of.
Gonna be a fucking Billy, a Robert, the friendly names, the Johns.
See, that's what the name should have been used for. The names Rashad, Rashawn, Raheem should have been call outs to Black businesses to hire their own individual people in the same way that Jews do it, in the same way that other groups do it that were also ostracized. You didn't think that Russians were ostracized a little bit, or other groups like Italians, they had to end up making their own bank like Bank of America. They found a way to employ their people and get into the system. And still, Black Americans are going to have to address that same particular issue. Black people are still going to be ostracized. I mean, especially with the DEI things coming, you got AI coming, people can be more selective and be a little bit more open about their prejudices. It might not lack lawsuits. Look, we don't want a person named Latrell working here. We don't even want to give a person named Leandre a shot. We don't want to give Letitia a shot. Then who has to give them that shot? The Black community, or entrepreneurs in the Black community, have to then give them that shot. If we're not going to give it to them, who will give it to them? Somebody has to give them that shot. And if we are not going to do it, we need to be honest about not doing it, but then not complaining that, hey, these companies that whites run don't want to give you a shot, but you have every opportunity in your community to give yourself the shot. And once you have your own ability to give yourself the shot, well, everything will work out right. So, guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson.
Yeah, man.
Back at it
That's
again.
why I say,
Love it.
bro, like that. If you can't beat them, join them was the wrong move, bro. You know, but then they would have wiped everybody out. Oh, we're giving you the option to be freedmen and come be within our society and but you want to be your own people? Nah, fuck that, bro. They would have wiped black people out, bro. They would have wiped black people out if they still want. I mean, but black people was fighting for desegregation and shit. I just feel like, bro, that was the wrong move, man. Cause if you look at it today, bro, racism is still there, bro, and it's just a different form of it, man, of enslavement. White people is enslaved too to these jobs, to the 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? Like it is at this point, it's the government versus everybody. You know, but the racism within the people is still there. You know, for really no reason. When you look at it, like, white people need to understand that, like, the government created the reality that we live in today. You know what I'm saying? From all the shit that they went through and done. You know, so how you view black people is the perspective that they gave you. You know, a Raheem, a Jakeem, a Tyrone. I know Jaquans and Tyrone. I got a cousin named Tyrone. I got a cousin named Keywan Antoine. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know, when you look at them names, think of why you view them the way you do, though. You know, it's because how this land was built, bro. You know, it's because of history. Think of that. You know. Y'all let me know what y'all think. We on the road to 100K, okay? If you ain't hit that like button, subscribe button, turn on all notifications, slap the dog shit about yourself, because that's the first thing you should have did when you clicked on this video. I'm live on Twitch right now as I'm recording this video, so I need everybody to go to Twitch and follow me, turn on all notifications. If you made it to the end of this video, you bored, check out this video to the left, or check out my music to the right. Just drop some new shit. 1000 Ways to Pimp. Out now, all platforms, Spotify, Apple Music. The video out now on TYP Cam Music. Make sure y'all subscribe. Get that shit on the next one. I'm gone. TYP tonight. This shit is in me, it ain't on me, you can't scrub it off. I've been riding by my lonely on that paper walk. And watch you call your homies cause they bound to talk. Yeah, I've been focused on my chicken.